Dangote Petroleum Refinery has announced the reduction in the price of petrol from 970 naira per litre to 899 naira per litre. Now, the company made this announcement a few days to Christmas to provide much-needed relief for Nigerians by easing transport costs ahead of the holiday season. The company also says consumers are allowed to purchase fuel on credit, but based on certain bank guarantees. This is the second time that Dangote Refinery has reduced petrol price, as it had lowered the price to 970 naira per litre in November. Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has also announced the reduction in the pump price of petrol across its retail outlets in Abuja. The prices had fallen from 1,060 naira per litre at the pumps to 1,014 naira, and that's a reduction of 20 naira per litre, but prices still remain between 1,080 to 1,120 naira per litre at independently owned filling stations. Well, are we heading towards price war in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria? Olabode Showomi, who is an oil and gas expert himself, joins us in the studio to look at this issue. I know that's not one word you like, price war, but thank you so much for being on the news tonight. So, Olabode, let me ask you, is this the beginning of a competitive domestic refining market in Nigeria? I know you're more comfortable with that than price war.
I think, first of all, is the nature of the free market. So, because of the nature that our markets have evolved, there's been like quasi-monopoly across board. So people are not used to this kind of things. When there's a free market, there's free entry and there's free exit. The more the people come in, the more the people who come in need to differentiate themselves to be able to sell their services. Some may differentiate on the basis of price. Others may differentiate on the basis of additional value-added services. So they may maintain a slightly higher price, but offer you value-added services. So it is now left to the customer to now decide what is in his own interest. We must understand that there are certain things competition does. It gives you cost-reflective price. In other words, the capitalist will no longer be able to take unfair advantage of the Nigerian. So you will be able to give them only the price with a slight profit on it, because there are others who are going to be offering the same. Then there is the value-added services. Because of competition, people become innovative. They start to think of different ways to. So at the end of the day, whichever way you look at it, this is good news for the Nigerian. It's not in the case where when the refinery came up, the Nigerian was wondering, so what were we looking at? This is one of the benefits. So people are doing themselves to try and please the populace with respect to price. And hopefully we will get to a price which will be significantly lower, where the Nigerian will smile. How significantly lower are we likely to see it, given that this price cut largely depends on the price of crude, because I mean everybody's in business to make profit. Yes. So how long are we likely to see these price cuts, and at what point do we get it significantly lower to make Nigerians happy, like you say? So the price of crude is a factor. The ratio between the naira and the dollar is also a significant factor. So the price of crude can remain the same. If there's a fluctuation and the dollar goes higher, the price will go higher. So the price of crude can also still remain the same in dollar-wise, because I mean it's an international commodity, and the dollar falls with respect to the naira. It is expected that that price will also fall. So the price of crude is one. The dollar to the naira ratio is also another. Those are two very key significant things that affect it. Incidentally, those two factors, which are the most important ones, are outside the influence of those who are in the industry. No refiner has power to determine the crude oil price. No refiner also has the power to determine the naira to the dollar exchange rate. Even though we're having the innovative Naira for crude swap petrol policy, which commenced October 1 of this year, why do we still have to rely on the dollar Naira exchange? I thought I was supposed to cut all of that out, since it's NNPCL
and the local refineries, Afrexim Bank coming into that equation, while we're still looking at dollar component?
You know, okay, so first of all, I don't think all the details were released on that, but the understanding in terms of the amount of details that was announced when I think it was the CBN governor and all that, they basically said that they are going to sell to them in Naira, but at the prevailing rate. So the only major factor is that the refiners don't have to go and source for dollars in order to buy.
Great.
They basically can buy in Naira, but at the prevailing exchange rate.
Great, great. Okay, so we are seeing this slash prices between Dangote and the NNPCL, but we're yet to see that reflect at the pumps. When do you expect we're likely to see this at the pumps? This U-tide, which is supposed to be for the U-tide.
So basically, that's the issue with a free market and private market. So the refiner has done his own bit. The guy who's importing has done his own bit. But people seem to forget that there are also other guys in the value chain, which in this case are the marketers, those who will buy in bulk and take it to the last mile, which is the filling station. So even if they sell it and they buy it at 500 naira, and they choose to sell it at 1,000, technically they can.
Then it defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. Because it's a free market, it is now incumbent upon us we are obligated to monitor the whole process. So now we need to be asking the marketers. That's where the question now needs to be. The critical mass of pressure needs to be on those who buy from Dangote and those who buy from NNPC, and ask them why we are not able to see it at the pumps. And everybody must understand that for a system to work, all hands must be on deck. I think it's an African proverb that says that it takes a whole village to raise a child. So all of us need to also put pressure on the marketers. We need to put pressure on everybody that's connected and say, okay, gentlemen, it's been fun up to this stage.
Yeah.
Why are we not seeing this thing reflected?
Indeed, this black gold is our child and we like it so much. But before you go, let me quickly ask you, because it's something Dangote released. The Dangote refinery is offering a credit-based purchase backed by banks. I think 3 banks were named so far. How innovative is this initiative? Is this something we've seen in the Nigerian oil and gas market before? And how could it set a precedent for others? I mean, what would this do to the local economy when it comes to oil?
So basically, this is an effect of a free market and a competitive market. For those who did economics, I'm not an economics, but I did some economics at secondary school level. One of the things, like I said, that competition does is that it forces people to be innovative. That is innovation. In other words, they have looked at the circumstances around themselves and see that the only place they can play ought not to just be in price. So let us order value-added services today. So those value-added services is one of that. Maybe, just maybe, NNPC itself, who is facing, in this case, a threat, can come up with additional value-added services and then come up with something else, and people can choose. And then maybe when BOA comes in, they come up with another kind of service, and maybe theirs will be related to gas. And we are the happier for it as the people. Exactly. The citizens. That is where the Nigerian wins. Great. I love the sound of that, where Nigerians win. Thank you so much, Olabode Showomi, for being on the news tonight and explaining to us what all of this means to us. My pleasure. Our economy. Olabode Showomi is an oil and gas expert. He's been speaking on the price cuts by Dangote Refinery.